Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets on Tuesday nights. We were off last week, well, people were doing a bit of traveling, but we're back this week and we're picking up where we left off. There was a dispute between Raiken and Cyrus due to Cyrus' interruption of certain evening activities that Raiken had been looking forward to, and penance was paid in the form of a punch to the face. So, with that debt settled up, the party is in the midst of determining what it is that Coffers changed about the information they had on Tatsuya, and then at some point it seems like they intend to go after him. So, Cyrus, you and Raiken, as of the end of last session, were stood here around the breakfast table. Leah was there. I guess she snuck off. I forgot that. You got your punch in, Raiken. So, is there anything more that needs to happen at this breakfast table? Everyone else is upstairs or in the mansion.
I don't have anything.
Okay. So you deck him. He takes it. And you feel better?
Sure.
Sure. Alright. I'll take it from the other side. Cyrus, you have been hit. You got smote. It was unpleasant. But according to Raiken, you're square. So, from the first floor of the World Over Inn, having had breakfast, having had Leah make her escape, and yes, Pendar, I know that you are hiding here watching things unfold. Nobody can see you. What would you do now that you have squared up, settled your debt to Raiken?
I'll get up and kind of dust myself off and say, like, just nod at him, but then say with a telepathic bond, I was trying to get that done in private so as not to cause problems amongst any onlookers and upper ranks, but I guess that's handled at least. Correct?
Yes.
Alrighty then. What all has, and this is going to be kind of a tough question to the group, what all needs to happen today? Because I have an angry fish to deal with.
Voice in the sky, I think that Laromendis' plan is to finish finding out what's changed, right? That's today.
That's going to take...
We have not yet done the work to finish it, yeah.
That's going to take a
Just trying to
significant
piece together
amount of effort, but the more people you can enlist, or at least, like, obviously there's kind of a limit on space in the room, but 4 people is kind of ideal for breaking up this task and getting it done quickly.
Yeah,
You're thinking...
And the people who were involved last night are better suited to be involved again, just so nobody needs to be brought up to speed.
Right. So that'll be Yukikaze, Jebel, and Laromendis. Given the size of the room and the size of the task, like, you might be able to squeeze a 5th person in there, but at some point you're sacrificing, like, you're hitting the point of diminishing returns. There's the phrase.
Yeah. We're going to be, as quickly as possible, investigating the changes that Fess had made, so that we know who to properly contact at the Empire of the Four Queens, so that we are not appearing from nothing into an army. It is my hope that that will be able to be done in a single casting of the historical lens, but it is... I would rather be meticulous than quick. so it is possible that it could take until the end of the day. Which would involve using the simulacrum, or the simulacrum's 8th level spell, fast depleting its resources. I think I look over at the simulacrum as I think that.
The simulacrum is not on the bond, so
Yeah, no, I know.
it returns your gaze, but like very like devoid of emotion and understanding.
Yeah. What are those who are not joining me in the research planning on doing today?
I believe I have some rumors to quell. Or not rumors, because I suppose it sort of happened. The whole death healing occurrence. Why can't my day ever be simple?
He gave his lives to give us our limbs back.
He's back from the dead, he's Jesus.
Our limbs are still here.
As soon as they see him, they grab at the arm to like make sure it's still there.
You know how some people say it costs you an arm and a leg? This is kind of like the reverse.
I'm going to get some breakfast, and then I'm going to help with training again.
Alright.
I think you know what I'm going to be doing.
And once I'm addressed for things, I'll go stand in as spare dragon.
Okay. Alright. Then, as far as that's concerned, you are able to break up and do that. These tasks are more, role to continue working on these things as opposed to, role play. Raiken, you're going to be able to sit down and get some breakfast, and you're going to get some, like, meaningful looks from Ruby, because she was pretty much the sole witness to you decking Cyrus. But she does not say anything. Vendar, you're able to slip back up to the room without anybody noticing you, I'm pretty sure. What's your stealth?
Rolls? Or just
Isn't it like billion?
It's very high.
Yeah, what's your passive stealth? I mean, let's say you rolled a 1, you minimize to 10.
Which is a 10. Yeah.
If I minimize to 10, then my passive stealth is a 27.
Does anyone...
I can't see you if you're trying to hide from me.
Does anyone have a passive perception of 27 or higher? Besides Vendar?
I have a +6 to my perception, Vendor.
Not even the dragon.
I'm not even half that.
Not even the dragon has that high passive.
You are so good, you don't even have to think about getting back up the stairs unseen and unheard. You blend in like a chameleon and move back up after watching the punch, completely unnoticed.
I am the knight.
You am the knight. Cyrus, you set your jaw again and go out to help with training. Those helping with training, Cyrus and Raiken specifically, are going to note that the Tritons are very forceful, very in control. Like, you come out, you offer your services, they initially, like, seem to ignore you, and then, like, after, the next 5 minutes of exercise, like, when a set of exercise ends, that's when they finally turn to address you. You explain that you want to help, and they tell you how you can help. they tell you what you can do.
I don't think this is a problem for Raiken.
You do?
I don't think this is a problem for Raiken.
Is it a problem for Cyrus?
Derek is muted.
Oh. You will both notice that Cyrus seems to be taking these commands no problem, probably because she's confident that if she really cared to, she could devour most of these Tritons without half a thought, but she seems to enjoy the idea of, mortal creatures thinking that they can tell her what to do.
I don't have any problem with it, but I did want to try and deal with my death resurrection issues first before assisting with Spare Dragon stuff.
Alright,
Like, I don't need that to take place now, but just thematically.
I mean, when you appear, stuff about that is going to happen. Why don't you roll me persuasion check? You're charisma based, that shouldn't be too bad.
Yep. Well, I'll be surprised if I fail this. Let's go make sure I have the modifier right, because dragon. Proficiencies in languages. Not used to... No, that's not it. Sorry, I'm not used to the mobile app. Skills, there it is. That is a 32. I rolled a 19.
Yeah, so when you first appear, there's a lot of hoots and hollers that, oh my gosh, the Lieutenant General is alive again, this must be an apparition, come to smite us and take back his limbs, but you are able to make a, quick, short speech, and put out some platitudes, that assure these soldiers that is not the case, that you are not returned from the dead, and you are most certainly not going to take their limbs back, that the side effect of the powerful magic that you used to help them was that you needed to rest a while in another dimension, because you are powerful magic, and they seem to very much accept this bullshit explanation.
I mean... It's also technically not that far off if I just slept in the mansion.
You are... I would think that it would be very diplomatic to tell them that you appreciate their concern for you, but you are hale and hearty and whole.
Indeed.
Very well. Vendar, upstairs you are back to making potions, poisons, everything. And
Burning.
my 4 boys are going to head to Tatsuya's room to spend the next several hours parsing through the documents. Now, it was very good. You understood that this was going to be a long process, and you were able to take good notes on where things were so that you could do side-by-side comparisons by matching the documents, knowing exactly where they would be. So that saves you a lot of time finding the documents to match, as I stated. So I would like Laromendis, Yukikaze, and Jebel to please make investigation checks. 2 each.
Also, I just used a 7th level spell. I didn't want to have to think about it. I rolled so poorly on my
You said
the spell
2
match rolls.
each.
2 investigation checks each. Yukikaze, Jebel, Laromendis, and Simularomendis.
Well, that's not great.
I'm gonna use my inspiration for that first one.
I still have an extra inspiration.
I should not have used my inspiration on that first one.
I am going to use it on that first one.
Use a different die. That one is bullying me. That one's off the table. See, this one, I just needed to throw it on the ground, and it understood the assignment.
Behold your replacement, asshole. I'm out of here! Oh, God.
I used inspiration on the first one. That was an improvement.
Nice.
I went from a 3 to a 5.
I rolled a 5 on die, and then a 1 on die when I used my inspiration.
Everything's going so well.
I have nothing to add to inspiration.
You have an extra inspiration, don't you?
I had my extra inspiration. I used that.
Jeez.
I got an extra 2. But the thing is, I have nothing to add to it. I have a 0. So
yeah.
Like with perception, like I can do anything in perception. Like, what did I get?
There is a +5 difference to our bonuses, Laromendis and me. Because I have the headband and Ash.
Yeah. And he's got nothing.
And yet, one of our rolls was the same.
And one of his rolls was higher than that.
This did not go great. I think we're gonna have to use one of his spell slots.
Alright. You got a 5, a 10, an 11, and a 15, a 13. Okay, I need to do my math.
And I'd used the 8th level spell slot for the lens with a sorcery point to extend it so it lasts for 2 hours.
Yes, I did assume that to be the case. 69.
Nice.
85. 98. Okay, so. You spend the 2 hours investigating these documents, comparing sheet by sheet, point by point. However, at the end of these 2 hours, you still feel like you're missing pieces of the puzzle. You know that there were pages that you didn't quite get to because you were hung up on earlier ones. Are you going to cast the spell again to finish?
I would. This is me to everyone else. I would like to have the simulacrum cast the historical lens for another 2 hours to make certain that we're correct and thorough. Are the rest of you all right spending that time here to help finish that?
Thumbs up.
We got almost there, but not quite. So Laromendis wants to use the simulacrum 8th level spell and a sorcery point to do this again.
I'm going to do whatever it takes for this because it's very important that we get this situated and deal with coffers. So I will do whatever we need to do to get this taken care of right now.
Cool.
Okay. So, Laromendis is going to spend the spell slot, and he also has sorcery points, right?
Yes.
Yes. And a sorcery point. I believe he hasn't previously spent any, so he should still have both.
He has not. The only resources that he has used are the 9th level spell and now an 8th level spell at a sorcery point.
Okay. You know, only his most expensive things.
It's true,
that he can't
but that's
get back.
why he exists.
Alright. Nah. the roll was to determine if you were going to need to spend the resources. You had to spend the resources, so you were able to get through the rest of the documentation, and you feel like you feel confident that you now have a picture of what it was Tatsuya was doing, whom he was talking to, getting resources from, and which names coffers had tried to cover up on you. As I said before, just from the page you would have been able to correct from your eidetic memory, he mostly just seemed to be grabbing at any specific detail and then changing it to any other made-up thing, just because it should have been impossible to verify any of it.
Yeah.
This seemed like very thorough. As I said before, this would absolutely have worked on anyone else.
A sufficiently determined wizard. A sufficiently pissed off wizard.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if you had not had the eidetic memory, then it would not have been clear that he had done anything at all.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have been, like, you might have looked into it just out of, like, he's acting suspicious, but there wouldn't have been any confirmation prior to spending resources to looking into it. So...
yeah.
It was, like, I would say that even Laromendis has to admit that this was a decent plan, a decent execution, even.
From the very beginning, that's what makes Laromendis so upset, I think, about this act, is just how effective it is at obfuscating information.
Yeah. Let's see, I know I added some names here. Allow me to find them. Yes, I did. So, your main goal, one of the main things that you had described as a goal prior to this, though, was trying to pull out identities of people that Tatsuya was communicating with, specifically within the army of the Empire of the Four Queens.
Yes.
And so I have these names. I didn't know exactly how this was all going to roll out, so I had to come up with 6 names, because I wanted 3 real names, and then the 3 names I got changed to. The names I got changed to are completely, like, I can reuse them for something else some other time, I guess. Because it doesn't matter. You were able to see through this ploy. But I did think that there might be some time you were working with this misinformation, which would have been fun.
Just sending to random people in, like, Sudarin that Thess knew. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So, from the documentation, which you now have a good correction, like, you were able to correct the real documents from the old documents, so you now have a record that you can carry with you out of the spell. It seems that there are 3 high-ranking officers, their equivalent of general, moving with the army from the Empire of the Four Queens into Ebengard, and if they're able to put 3 of their highest-ranking, supposedly highest-ranking officers out there, how many have they got, or how confident are they, or aren't they, in this operation? How many soldiers and officers below the generals are there, is the question it raises you. And the answer to those questions is not in these pages. You can see that there is coordination between Tatsuya and these generals. He does not seem to be playing them against each other at all. He seems to mostly be talking to 3 because they are all, like, from the conversations, it just seems that they all want to have a line to him. Like, the trust is they have distrust of him, in that all three of them needs to be directly communicating with him and making sure they're all getting the same story. That's the feeling you get from these documents, and the fact that he is speaking to three separate generals who are all on the same mission together. So there is... What you glean from that is that the Empire of the Four Queens is incredibly careful about what it does before committing resources anywhere. And this very much jives with your knowledge, or lack thereof, of the Empire of the Four Queens. You haven't traveled there yourself, but your travels have never brought you into contact with any representatives or resources of the Empire of the Four Queens. So this seems to, like, go hand in hand with the idea that they've been very isolationist for a very long time. They found ways to you know, sustain their cities on the resources they have without encroaching the borders of nations around them. And the histories that you had, especially those added to, I guess, illuminated, if you will, by your time in the Vault of Garland, and seeing this little slice of the history between Toralos, the Empire of the Four Queens, and Thanandir, that these were nations that, even 500 years ago, were hostile, active on each other's borders. And that this shift had come after the fall, after that final battle, the one that they had called the Final Flash, where Mickey, the champion of Cord, disappeared, was lost, died, and the armor of Cord disappeared. It was after that things seemed to very quickly calm. The armies were obliterated, and that set all those nations back on their heels. And suddenly this person that, while often acting as an antagonist, was always a guiding hand, you know, evening out the keel of this ship that is these three nations, was gone. And so it seemed like they were all loath to spark up conflict without somebody who could kind of, in her own way, mediate. So all that to say that this seems to be supported by you. This behavior is supported as trustworthy, as you believe this is accurate, and this is not a misrepresentation. There's no other alteration here that you need to worry about, because it fits with your understanding of that area.
Makes sense.
I have the three names. Let me copy them in. Let me just do this.
Did I get the impression that there was, like, a first amongst these names, or it is fairly equal, or equal enough that
they are all of the same rank, and they are all treating Tatsuya in these communications the same way. It very much seems like they inhabit the same rank. They are checks and balances on one another. None of them holds power or sway over the others, and they are very strict about this. To the point that they're not even trusting information from one another. You know, not that there is... How to explain this? Not that there is a innate sense of distrust amongst them as people, but that they have a strict modus operandi of, if one general has a piece of information, it must be independently verified by the other generals before it can be trusted as true.
See, this is why that cleric I was gonna make was gonna be from the Empire. It's a good place.
You're gonna could be from the Empire of the Four Queens.
The Cleric of Arathis was from there.
Yeah.
But Laromendis hasn't died or retired yet, so...
It's true.
Yeah.
There's a little time left yet to get killed.
It's true.
So I've provided the 3 names: Adaris Sandrini, Thelmina Barafas, and Orlissa Frangella.
Okay.
Or, as I'm sure Alex is going to insist I say it, Frangela.
He's muted so he could insist. No, he unmuted just so he could insist.
Frangela.
Yeah. These are 3 generals traveling, moving the army of the Empire of the Four Queens into Evangard as you research. I don't know how much talking is going on there, so I can't really say as you speak. But so you now have names, which, as we've determined, a sufficiently determined spellcaster with access to sufficiently high enough level spell slots can send to people with but a name.
True. Which I think I can only do with my 9th level spell slot. Which means we only get to reach out to 1 today. Which means tomorrow, when we reach out to a second one to verify that information on their end, to use my 9th level spell slot as well.
I'm sure this won't be disconcerting to them at all. Okay, so, with that, 4 hours is chewed. It's now noon or well after.
If you guys want to help me with my big fish problem a little bit more directly, so that I don't need my 9th level spell slot, we could use the simulacrums and then make a new simulacrum before you cast your 9th slot to get more sendings down the road.
Can the simulacrum send a sending though?
It can cast any spell that I can.
You just dictate to it what it wanted to say?
Yeah.
And then it would
Same
just
way we do to
talk
him.
back.
Just treat Singular Laromendis the same way you treat regular Laromendis.
I'm sorry. I do actually care about you, but
I guess as a
setup.
not as a radio.
Wouldn't the answer go to the Simi Laromendis then?
Yes, but
he can just tell
repeat
us.
the message.
It's your own fault, Laromendis, for being so useful.
So that would be a good way to be able to today send to two of the generals, which means tomorrow we could try and figure out some means of meeting with them. Tomorrow at the earliest. What do you have in mind for your aquatic issues?
Well, you know the house box?
Yes.
Its method of gathering water seems to open up. I don't know if it was just because it was water, or if because that was from some sort of other plane or elemental source. But last night when I looked into it, it looked back.
Also, out of character, I should have said pelagic problems. So that's on me. I was like, benthic, what would begin with a B? And I was like, pelagic is right there.
You know, only you and I know what those words mean.
Laromendis knows.
Okay, 3 of us. And 1 of us isn't real.
So, if I don't have to take more drastic measures, I figure we could get someplace secluded, likely some sort of pocket plane of ours, let it through and send it back to its original dimension, either with force of will or banishment.
With the house box not open, there isn't a direct line to the plane of water.
Yes, but it might know where I'm at now, since there was some element of contact, so perhaps I'm overreacting, but I feel like there will be consequences soon, and I feel like if we can get ahead of them before they appear in front of the army, that might be good.
I'm just trying to figure out how you propose to fish it out of the plane of water, so to speak.
I mean, I imagine if I just get a big enough puddle from the same source and stand where it can see me, it'll likely do the coming through on its own.
I don't know that just taking water from the plane of water would sufficiently give it some kind of portal.
Well,
on its
from
own.
my understanding of what happened last time, I was able to, like, close off or, like, disrupt what it was. Like, is it water that's filling into a basin, or, like, am I, like, just pulling out of, like, a bottomless pool?
So,
I thought there was a faucet.
I will remind you, yes. Because you've used it, what's this, the third time?
I think it's only
You
the
know,
second action.
you have a purple worm in a desert attack a thing once, and suddenly everybody thinks that thing has purple worms in it. I don't know how this
Look,
happened.
I tried to use it more often. I wasn't allowed. No one was there to stop me this time.
We just didn't need it.
As you
Yeah, I don't
all...
need to kill purple worms anymore since I can just pour milk Laromendis.
I hate it. As you all are aware, it was a while since the last time you used this, but it was a pretty big deal at the time. You remember that the house box, when you do it, it creates a cabin. You know that because you've used it more than once, every time it creates a cabin, it seems to pull a different cabin. Different sizes, all that fun stuff. Inside, however, is almost always, you know, the same accoutrements. And among those accoutrements are a fireplace that you can ignite by pushing a button, and you knew at the time, because of studying it, that this was opening a direct portal to the plane of fire to get its fire, and it had a faucet that could fill a basin, and when you turned the handle on the faucet, it was a direct line to the plane of water, which is where the water came from. After you turned off the faucet and threw the water and the basin out the window, you were able to stay in the cabin without any further disturbance from your fishy friend.
So why do you think this amulet's gonna find you across dimensions? Is that how it works?
It kind of swore to.
You spoke to it?
I
Yes,
think we
I
were
pissed it
all
off last
present
time.
there.
Oh, it's the same amulet as last time?
Yes.
Yes. That's why it's a consequence of my own actions that I did not fully understand at the time.
You can remember that Doral said, "Oh boy."
Sucks to suck, kid.
And at the time, I said I would probably have to use my first real wish to make you forget about me. And that's currently the plan.
So what do you need everybody else for?
This is... I want everyone else, if they want to get more sendings out, because it will take my 9th level spell slot. In other words...
Why would it not take your
I'm-
Simulacrum's 9th level spell
I
slot?
think he's saying it will.
Because my simulacrum doesn't have one. Because
Oh,
every time I
right,
make
you
them, I
cast it.
use
Yeah,
my
yeah,
9.
Yep.
Like, I suppose your simulacrum could... Well, no, 'cause that doesn't work. Yeah, no. It would just replace itself, which is, I suppose, useful, but not quite what we're looking for.
I mean, we can use a commune to determine if your aquatic acquaintance has an idea of your whereabouts and an intention to seek you out soon.
Yeah, probably just ask if it intends to do something to me or our group before we've dealt with the dragons. Because if it has, then we need to deal with it before we, like, on our own terms, I think.
Can't really remember how the aboleth went down. Can we kill the aboleth? Is there a reason we
No.
did before? Was it we can't kill
We
it?
can put it back where it came from,
Okay, it just goes back. So it's like the
but it's currently not quite where it came from, I don't think.
Abishai.
So, yeah, it's like the episode.
I believe that even if we... I don't know if Laromendis knows this. I don't... as a 19 on die... Is it Arcana for plain shit?
Yeah, plain shit is
Oh, plain
Arcana.
shit?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a 39.
What would you
I
like
believe
to
that if you
know?
kill an aboleth, even on the plane of water, it just makes it mad.
According to the lore that you understand, there is not a practical way to destroy an aboleth.
Yeah.
So,
So it is
if
different
I'm not
from
using
the
my
Abishai.
9th level spell
Can
slot
we
to make it
seal it
not my
like the-
problem, I need
Can we
you
seal
guys
it
to help
into
me make it
something?
not my problem yet.
Alright. Now try Vendar.
Can we seal it into something like the dragons?
We could theoretically imprison it. It's not something that we would need to weaken it. In out-of-game
Yeah.
terms, we would need it to lose its legendary resistances,
How does that
so
happen?
that it didn't just use one of those on the imprisonment.
No, we just may have to make it use all of its legendary resistances
Yeah.
before.
And then
We gotta play by Pokemon rules.
I could eat some hold monsters at it.
We do got a
If,
lot of
if
spells.
it fails those saves, it'll want to resist them, because
Because then it's get
they're a
fucked up.
problem.
Yeah. But yeah, so if we wanted to deal with it in a more permanent, in the most permanent manner that is feasible, given our not inconsiderable resources, that's what we would have to do. It would be an extremely expensive thing. And if it failed the first time, we would be in a bit of a pickle.
up
Did you
Shit's
know
Creek
that?
without a paddle.
What level of spell is in prison?
Imprisonment is a 9th level spell. Currently, the only one of us who's capable of casting it is Leah. And the stronger the creature,
Yeah.
the more expensive the spell.
That's right,
Could
you
you
used it
learn
on
to
the
cast
angel.
What was that, Vendar?
Could you learn to cast it?
I could. Not in the immediate.
It would take time.
It would take. Well, it is an abjuration spell.
Yeah, it'd take less time than most spells.
So it would take 9 hours, but I would need to go somewhere else where I could learn it.
And you know that from your experience
Seems all
in...
possible.
It's possible.
But why learn it when I know it?
That way we have a second shot.
Yeah, in case
Oh.
it fails the first time.
Yeah, in case we miss.
So, because even once it's used its legendary resistances, it's still possible for it to succeed.
It might still have really high defenses.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who's to say, you know? It doesn't seem like a particularly charismatic fish.
I mean, look, I don't want to add bias here because I'm the DM, so I'm going to add bias because I'm Ash.
It says that if it succeeds a wisdom saving throw, it is immune to the spell if you cast it again. So does that mean that if someone else casts it, it doesn't have that immunity?
It does not say it's immune for an hour or immune for 24 hours. It just says it's
It just
immune.
says immune.
So that means that if you fail to cast imprisonment on a creature, it's immune for the rest of your life.
Ah, but what if you're reincarnated?
It's just immune to you. It's like, it's not even your life. It's just, you can never imprison this creature. Period.
Yeah, it does not... I do not... Yeah, there's no time limit on this, so I'm going to stick with the strict reading. If you fail to cast imprisonment on a creature, you are never able to cast imprisonment on that creature. It's just immune to you. But a different person can cast imprisonment on that creature, obviously. So
Yeah, but holy shit, this is an expensive spell, though.
yeah. And
Yes.
I mean,
Because it needs a component worth 500 gold per hit die
yeah.
of the target.
If you are working in coordination with other people casting the spell, then you should go and seek out the focus for it. And if you fail, you give the focus to the next person and they cast it. We did things weirdly because of residuum. Before, you didn't use the focus, you spent the residuum. We probably don't have the residuum to burn through like multiple imprisonments on this thing.
Well, we would only get the one chance, you know, if we failed both imprisonments, and we'd never be able to do it.
It's true.
And then it read back to, I'll have to wish it away some evening.
And now that's not a thing of the spell, so that would cause consequences, right?
Yes, that would have its own consequences, but potentially less consequences than
So
it's
there's a
showing up
potential-
and trying to murder the army, or the army getting ideas of there's strange monsters just appearing to, you know, murder the generals or lieutenant generals, whatever it is we are at this point.
It is significantly expensive to imprison an aboleth.
Yeah.
I wasn't even looking for that. I was just mostly trying to get it so it won't be our problem during the dragons, so I can just save my wish till after that.
Yeah, because there's a chance you'll never be able to cast Wish again, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And that's why I don't want to do it if I have another option.
I can't even weigh in as Ash right now because he's not on the bond.
So I guess suppose double check with whatchamacallit, Laromendis. Make sure my wish idea is even reasonable. Is it possible to affect the memory of an aboleth? Or the feelings?
Get it to talk to the Archmage.
With wish, all is possible. My
Is
guess...
it possible without wish? So I might know what realm of nonsense I'm venturing into.
Your party is the foremost experts on aberrations, so you don't really have anyone else to lean on very heavily. The reason you can pull lore on these creatures at all is just because they have been noted, but not in great detail. And that is pretty much any aberration.
Yeah.
Like, signs of them are known, so that's why earlier on in the campaign, Nalia was able to tell you, this sounds like you're dealing with an aberration. Those are all things aberrations do. You should get out of there. but, like, the details on aberrations outside of their, like, basic physical appearance, basic areas where they've been encountered, and, like, maybe some small bits of knowledge about what they seem to have influence over. There's not much, and your party has provided the largest contribution to knowledge on aberrations because you directly faced some, including an Elder Brain, including Illithids, including Intellect Devourers, and including a minor encounter with, minor on the grand scheme of things, and especially because you didn't see everything it can do and it got away, the Beholder. The Aboleth is one that you fought, so you saw some of the things it could do. You know that it had been facing off against this Dragonborn hunter on the in a space in the Underdark above the ceiling of the space you were in, which collapsed, dumping the Aboleth on top of the party. It was full of water. You were hundreds of gallons, thousands of gallons of water rained down on the party, along with an Aboleth and a Dragonborn. So you know that it's water-based. You know that it recognized people. It had some telepathic abilities, but, like, the exact nature of them isn't known. With your 39, I will say that the most useful thing you have on them is an accounting by somebody who is considered unreliable because their information is outlandish, and the methods by which they claim to have obtained it are unbelievable. But if one were to step outside the realm of the reasonable and assume that this archivist is not lying, then it would seem that they had an encounter, a non-lethal, non-combat encounter with an Aboleth that they described as an ancient being, older than the stars, and with the knowledge of those times to back it up. Memories of the times before the gods. Memories of the times when the land was not immutable. Memories of the times when the land was not land. So, you, Laromendis, have information that indicates that they have long and clear memories, but is that information accurate? Not according to the best scholars in your field.
We already established they don't know anything about it. So.
Exactly. So, now, Laromendis must...
Also, I want to add, would that also be true for every Aboleth?
Perhaps,
Maybe
perhaps
there's
not.
only one.
But you, as the party, having this information shared with you by Laromendis, if he has chosen to share what I have just said,
Yes.
must decide where you stand on the veracity of that information as a party. And if you decide that sounds reasonable, that sounds like it might be true, and we will act based on the fact that this man, person, this scholar, perhaps a woman, I haven't decided. I should give them a name and a personality, so let's say gender nondescript at this point. This scholar from long ago has had this encounter, had this talk, and recorded it faithfully. It would put you at odds with the leading scholars in all fields of magic and history.
Mm-hmm.
But that choice is yours to make.
I think, given how Doral talked about things, and the dearth of true verified knowledge about aberrations, Laromendis would probably err on the side of believing the unbelievable and want to have it confirmed, but doesn't want to deal with an aboleth because they're scary.
Well, you have a very easy way of not dealing with an aboleth.
That's true.
And it is one I am willing to do, because this was my mistake. I will pay the price to fix it. However, if I lose my wish, that means we'll lose access to it for what's to come.
So Cyrus has asked about what kind of thing the wish might do, or what kinds of things short of wish might affect things. Modify memory potentially might. The spell says creature. But given the unknowable nature of aberrations, it might be more difficult to properly modify that creature's memories. I do not know.
How high a level would it have to be cast to go back, though? What, 2 months?
8th. It would be an 8th level modify memory. Would be able to.
Because like it was in the Underdark, so it might not have been that long.
Let's
hope.
So,
Weeks.
The aboleth is mad at us because we killed it, right?
The aboleth is mad at Cyrus.
It's very specifically Cyrus.
The final blow.
Because he dealt the final blow.
And
so he hates Cyrus.
Beforehand, I also was trying to get his attention so it wouldn't kill somebody else, and I pissed it off. I very actively attempted to and succeeded at making it angry, and it has stayed that way.
All right, I think it happened on your way to the city of Onyx. Sorry, I will let you continue. I just want to say it's not 2 months. If it happened after the battle for Umbralight, then it probably happened on the 2nd of June, and it's now the 24th of June, so it's 22 days ago, 3 weeks.
Okay, so a 7th level modify memory would give you the time frame necessary to make this change were you to cast modify memory on the creature, which you would need to be close to it. You would need to have burned through its legendary resistances, and it would need to fail a wisdom saving throw.
I suppose that's the other thing. Its resistances might just burn off anything I try to wish at it from a distance. Those might get through it, might not. I don't know. If they do, I imagine it'll be more cost on my end, which would be not fun.
Yeah. I will also say, it is entirely possible that were you to make that wish, the memories would just be modified in such a way that essentially the next creature in its to-do list would take your spot, which is probably one of us. Which means you making that wish for yourself, while a reasonable decision on your end, might not solve the problem of the
might not have
creature showing up before the dragons.
Fuck.
It's possible that that's not what would happen. It's also possible the next creature on its to-do list would be
the person who
name I cannot remember, who starts with an R.
Resim.
Resin, yes. It's possible the next person on the to-do list would be Resim and not one of us, in which case it doesn't impact the dragons, but we would probably want to let him know. And he might have concerns about the decision to make that change to the aboleth's desires.
Call up Resin. Hey, buddy.
Buddy, pal, funny story.
There's now an angry fish creature after you. Good luck.
So, I don't know, if we're gonna believe the story about the guy talking to one, it sounds like it's an intelligent being. Maybe we can somehow reason with it, get it to stop hunting you and us.
I don't know enough about what these creatures would desire to want to take that risk before dealing with the dragons, at the very least.
Send to it?
That's a questionable idea.
It kind of sounds like we're in a pretty shitty boat here no matter what, so...
I mean, yeah, it's not the best.
Sounds like fighting this creature would be very hard and kind of pointless.
Well, we've been it before, and we weren't as strong then.
It's true.
However, I don't know how much Rhythm wore it down first.
But I'd also probably just piss it off more.
Possibly.
Probably. If it cannot truly be killed, then
yeah, I mean,
it would just be more annoyed that it failed a second time, and probably begin making plans in earnest.
Maybe we could try using Commune to figure out if the Aboleth could be reasoned with.
Well, if we're going off of what that guy said is true, this thing would be older than anything we contact with Commune.
True.
So they might not know anything.
It's true. That's a risk. That doesn't mean it's not a guarantee, though. They might know something.
And that guy could also be wrong.
True. But we could probably use Commune to try to verify, at least, whether he was wrong or not.
It's true. We can use Commune to confirm the account, the ancient scholar. Can also use Commune to verify if the Aboleth has plans to approach you in the next 3 weeks.
Or at the very least, we could put this conversation on hold by just finding out if it's going to be a problem today. And if it's not, then I can use my 9th level spell slot to help with sendings, and we can reconvene to this tomorrow. If I want to just make sure the immediate future is clear, because that would let us focus on our other problems for the moment, at least.
Looking at that kind of time range is probably going to be more accurate for Commune, which does benefit us. I would think that we would want to look at today and tomorrow at the very least, because if it's going to happen tomorrow, even we would need to make plans.
Yep.
Yeah, if we know when it's happening, then we could just go somewhere isolated and deal with it. You know, kill it and hope it doesn't come back again in the time frame. So at best, these solutions are temporary and do not solve the issue.
I don't know that we can fully solve the issue short of placing somebody more... If only we could find Brendan.
The words that should never be spoken.
Oh god.
So, alternative cure. Out of character, this is if I can make sure I get my schedule more in place. Not back in character. I could see about transferring my curse to it, so it has less control over what it's doing and where it's going.
As your thinking this message, Cyrus, onto the bond, explaining this possible plan, you're going to find that your thoughts muddle, and you can't quite convey them into the thought space between you. Your body is going to begin moving without your command. Your mouth moving and forming words. I have placed all the tokens here, but I imagine if this is something you want to deal with, it would be good to be in the presence of Laromendis before going and trying to do anything with the army. Or rather, after he's finished, coming and getting him to talk about this, and doing it over the bond so that the party's involved. Does that sound reasonable to you? Cyrus.
This is like a visual question, and
But it's a conceptual question too. The question is, because you need or want Laromendis magic for this, and you have your simulacra, and it affects all of those things, I imagine that you would have come to be in the same place with him in case you wanted to act on any of these plans, while communicating over the bond so that the party can all weigh in no matter where they are.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Good. Because your body starts to move on its own, specifically your mouth, forming words in a voice that is not your own, as Laromendis speaks onto the bond. If only we could find Brendan.
Sam, you motherfucker.
Look, I was like, if we could find someone more obnoxious than you to divert the Aboleth's attention. Who's the most obnoxious person we know?
Well, you found him.
By now familiar, if not still off-putting, ominous forest green glow to Cyrus' eyes that you still see pulsing from time to time is going to come back in full, steady glare as he seems to go rigid before you, Laromendis, and a voice that is not his exudes from his mouth and says, "What would you want with that guy?"
Cyrus, what the hell's wrong with you?
Laromendis has an answer that would be good to give.
Sorry. Cyrus isn't here anymore. Wait, are you still here? That's amazing. You exist only in thought space now, Cyrus. Your body is not yours.
All I was gonna say is the thought trying to go through Cyrus's head is bait.
Bait?
In regards to his question. Like, what would you want with Brendan? Bait.
Bait.
I think Laromendis might say, he seems to have I don't know if the Cyrus had said, "What would you want with that guy?" So
yeah.
Right, not like me. So I think Laromendis is going to assume this is some entity acting with Brendan's will.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to speak about him in the third person, not you, him.
Understood.
He seemed to be He seemed to have I feel it is likely that he had an esoteric set of knowledge, and given the questions around aboleths, he might know interesting things.
Cyrus...
None of which is a lie?
For you, everything seems to have suddenly changed. You find yourself near the helm of a ship. that is bouncing over the waves of a great blue ocean. You are not the one at the helm. You are stood slightly off to the side and behind the person at the helm, and you recognize this red-haired, maybe elven-looking man with a beard made incongruously of mushrooms, steering this vessel as seagulls spiral around his head. And he keeps looking over his shoulder and eyeballing you as he talks into the wind. You find you can still hear your friends' voices as they are spoken over the bond, and you can still speak onto the bond yourself, but you feel you are no longer on the island, no longer in the inn. You are on this boat with this man who has only harmed you in the past.
Cyrus will both say and think, "Where am I? And how did I get on this boat?"
Boat. And anything that is being said by this man now is also being said by Cyrus' body. So you're having a very disjointed conversation with a man who keeps monologuing to someone off screen, Sam. He says, "A boat? I couldn't tell you why you're seeing a boat. I don't know all the inner workings of that mind of yours now that I've given you my blessing. But boy, would I love to be on a boat right now. Oh, the open sea, the wind in my hair." Now wait, you were saying that this Brendan fellow has an esoteric set of knowledge. I love that word, esoteric, esoteric. It sounds like a disease, but it isn't. What kind of knowledge are you looking for? Do you smell salt?
I do.
What about you?
Or Cyrus does, no.
He says, "What about you?" In this, you see the captain behind the wheel, leaning back away from it and eyeball you fully as he asks this question. "What about you, Cyrus?"
All I'm getting is burnt toast.
Oh. Damn it! Hold on! My toast! This is why you never trust blinkhounds with breakfast. What were we talking about?
How I got here.
You're in the mind space. Do I need to talk to you? I can talk to you if you want. Are you lonely?
Just confused.
Welcome to the mind space, and also chaos. It's very confusing. I find that comforting, though. Confusion, a base level, like white noise, helps me go to sleep at night. But there was someone else. You! And Cyrus's body points at you, Laromendis. What do you want to know that Brendan could tell you?
I'm curious if he has any knowledge about aboleths.
So I can tell you about any kind of fish you like. Whales? They're not technically fish, you know. Tails go the wrong way. Breathe air sometimes. Octopi. They're not fish either. Lots of legs. Sturgeons are fish. Would you like to know about sturgeons?
Out of character. I do think Laromendis wants to know what Brendan has to say about sturgeon.
Of course he does.
I would be very interested to know what you have to say about sturgeons.
Sturgeons are bastards. Okay, first of all, they have very sharp scales on the the dorsal side. So when you try to grab them with your hand, first of all, huge, giant fish. So you have to be huge yourself. Luckily, Brendan is. And so, when I grab a fish, when he grabs a fish, sometimes they hurt his hand. Secondly, delicious, actually. The blinkhounds, one thing they can cook, sturgeon. So, Unfortunately, no sturgeon in the Feywild. Fuck me, right? I'm going to invent Fey sturgeon. I mean, Brendan might.
Does Laromendis know of a Fey fish?
Why aren't you fishing, Cyrus? You find that there is a fishing rod in your hand.
What? How did this?
Go on, get me a sturgeon! Again, Cyrus' body is saying this to you, Laromendis.
Laromendis is like, I don't have any of the tools.
I'm not talking to you, he says to Cyrus.
I understand.
Now then, why do you want to know about the aboleths? What did you do?
Something very stupid.
Oh, I love this story. Tell me the story, he says to Laromendis.
I think he would just... We encountered one in the Underdark.
Oh, a favorite place of mine before I decided the Feywild was better for my health. I mean, Brendan did. And you said mean things to it, so it swore vengeance on you eternally.
I don't know if it's better for him to think that I did it or Cyrus did it.
I mean, he's talking to Cyrus at the same time.
It's true. And I think that...
Bait the line before you cast it!
I don't... Cyrus angered it.
Oh, that is chaotic. I am the most beneficent of gods. You're lucky to have me around. I mean, Brendan. He's great. So, you want to know how to survive an aboleth that's mad at you. Have you considered running to the Feywild and living there for the rest of whatever your normal life is? He says to Cyrus. To both of you, but, you know, Cyrus, he's leaning towards you on the ship instead of talking to the wind.
While I've considered it, there are some more immediate concerns.
Do you have any powerful...
I could certainly propose that to him.
Well, I highly recommend it. Just stay away from a guy named Brendan. If you see him, you run. That guy will fuck up your day. Great toast, though.
Very familiar with this. Sadly.
Did you offer to pet the poodle?
Maybe? I don't know. A lot of things happened that day.
If you pet the poodle... Guy's like a... What's the word? What's something that's really soft and nice? Rolls over like a cat presenting its belly. Don't trust it. It's a trap.
That's definitely what happens when a cat does it.
Well, that's why I said it. You're very quiet all of a sudden, elf guy. You look familiar. We met. Waggles his eyebrows at you.
I mean, I am familiar with Cyrus.
Don't worry, I never forget a face. Ever.
I don't...
Look, if you're not going...
I don't think wants to, like, let on that he's put together that it's Brendan, because he keeps trying to keep up the charade. So...
It's just a polite thing to do.
Look, if you're not going to uproot your entire existence and move to a plane that is not quite connected to the plane of water anymore, which I bet I could find one of those. Maybe. Plane of Water's very big. Anyway, if you're not going to do that, then you're going to need to find yourself a pointy-eared wizard. Preferably one with white hair, so you know he's very old, because he probably has powerful spells. I have red hair. I mean, Brendan has red hair, so you can't talk to him, although he does have powerful spells. Actually, he could probably take care of the problem. No questions asked. Easy. He wouldn't, though. Aboleths are fucking scary. Anyway, if you're not going to relocate, you could cast a spell about it. I like Wish. Great spell. Probably won't work, but do it anyway, just for laughs.
Do I get the feeling that when Brendan was talking about a white-haired elf wizard, he was probably talking about me?
It did feel terribly specific.
That's what I thought.
Look, here's the problem, right? You probably know this, but aboleths, very old fish, much bigger than a sturgeon, and also happen to have brains, unlike sturgeon. A lot of people think sturgeon have brains. They don't. They're actually fused ganglia, just like a bug. They don't know anything. They just swim in the current. Delicious, though. Anyway, aboleths, brain. Also, better brain than yours. Not better than mine. Better than Brendan's, though. Way better. His brain sucks. Anyway, they remember everything. I mean, everything. I told you I never forget a face. They never forget a word. I played with aboleth in Scrabble once. I can guarantee you, they never forget a word. And words I've never heard of. And they're worth a lot of points.
Scrabble?
Yes, Scrabble. Gentlemen and women play Scrabble because they are polite with each other. I notice you never played Scrabble with me. Raiken!
I don't really even know who you are.
Here. Is Raiken not training with the army?
It's Brendan. Why would Raiken's location matter?
He points exactly where Raiken is.
Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. He points exactly where Raiken is, which you know through a wall out on a battlefield, but Raiken appears right at the end of his finger.
What the fuck just happened? Why am I in here now?
We're playing Scrabble. You against me. The elf
Cyrus,
can be in
why
on
are we
if he
playing
wants.
Scrabble?
How many times do I have to
This is
explain?
an
It is a
associative
gentleman and ladies game of highbrow entertainment and proof that you know more words than your opponent.
You stopped me from training to play Scrabble with you. You can play Scrabble with Laromendis right here.
I like how he just rolls with this situation. You're my new favorite, Raiken.
Raiken's the one person who didn't meet Brendan, so he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
That's true, isn't it?
Right? He didn't!
Raiken, you love
Tatsuya
all,
was with us.
Raiken, you love all battlefields. Why not a battlefield of the mind?
He's gonna, like, turn, and Cyrus turns, and he turns, looking through that... I'm gonna move his little token here so the people have... No! Go back over there, Jello. Put him here. He's gonna turn, he looks through that gap between Yukika's and the tokens here, that, you know, out, like, over your shoulder. Laromendis. And he's gonna say to Cyrus on the boat, "Why didn't I meet this one? He's the best."
Because we were there to save him.
Oh, right. I knew
You
that.
met his brother, though.
There's just no resemblance between these Dragonborn at all. Anyway, you, Raiken, we're going to play Scrabble. And then we're going to have Sturgeon. We were talking about Aboleth, though. I keep getting ahead of myself. Or is it
Wait,
behind
you said
myself?
sturgeon.
What
I
about?
like sturgeon.
Exactly! Best fish ever, right?
It's delicious.
How do you feel about their spiky butts?
I mean, they have better parts, but...
Exactly! Terrible design. Terrible fish design. Gonna have a talk with... Melora. That bitch. Anyway.
Get smited for someone else talking about my body.
Alright, I'll start setting up the Scrabble board.
Alright. So, I think Aboleth. Something about big brains. Right. So, Aboleth. I can tell you all about those guys. I shouldn't, which means I'm definitely going to. This'll be fun. No one will believe you. Aboleth's oldest fish in existence. Predate the gods on this world, supposedly on every world. Don't know how they pulled that off. Had an empire of their own. Wild. Fish kings of other fish, also not fish. Did you know the gods didn't create people? They just created more people once they showed up. Anyway, they came in and saw fish kings and said, fuck that. Fish suck. And they smote the Aboleths and sent them back to the plane of water. Now, what the gods didn't know was that being alive so long without gods made them very powerful, and one of the special powers it gave them was the ability to never forget a bitch who fucked you up. So now, they want to kill the gods. Fish. Kill the gods! Laughable, right? Not. They'll pull it off. Trust me. They're older than everything. They're older than the dirt. But they're not older than water. Isn't that interesting? I should do the math on it at some point. How is water older than dirt, you ask? I'm not sure, but I will get to the bottom of it. The ocean. Speaking of the bottom of the ocean, the Tritons live down there. Did you know that they worship Aboleth? I bet you didn't.
I don't think I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Who worship the Aboleth?
The Triton. Hold on.
The Triton.
I summon to the floor Vendar!
I shouldn't have said anything.
Sure enough.
Poof! You are poofed out of the magnificent mansion, leaving behind whatever potion you were working on at that time, dropping whatever was in your hand because it stays there, floating in midair.
For a comedically long amount of time
before falling to the ground. And you
the
appear.
servant goes to reach for it, and that's when it falls.
And you can see that Cyrus is speaking with a voice not his own. This is the Tritons, Vendar. Keep up! The Tritons. You're working with them. You just gave your whole army over to them. Why do I know that? And how many fish have you caught?
The Tritons worship the Aboleth?
We haven't caught any fish.
We'll work on
Well,
it.
then we definitely don't want to have a pissed off Aboleth attacking us.
That all depends if the Aboleth really notices.
Where is Leah during all of this?
Well, the last thing that Leah had done, she had breakfast, and she had chastised the Black Rose for not being good enough at sneaking yet. So I imagined she had gone off to work with them, but I'm not sure. So what would she have done when breakfast concluded and Raiken came to slug Cyrus?
Let's see. Where are you now? You're on like in the by the bedroom area.
Yeah,
right?
or I'm in the bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of this is taking place over the bond.
A lot of it is, but all the stuff that Brendan is saying is using, Brendan's representative is using Cyrus' body's voice. He's not speaking that over the bond, but anything you hear from Cyrus is over the bond.
And I don't think that Laromendis is conveying... I don't know that Laromendis is conveying Brendan's words, or Brendan's representative's words. Because I don't think that he's, like... I think he's trying to think through them too much.
But if he isn't replaying the words, then Vendar wouldn't have known.
Doesn't matter, it's Brendan.
It's Brendan. You have a thought out of character, he's got it. Anyway, Leah.
But it has become clear that discussion with Brendan is taking place.
There is definitely a lot of chatter on the bond that would indicate that might have happened, yes.
Okay. So So from that moment on, Leah would be rushing towards the inn.
Okay.
Like at what point would she appear?
The
you
moment
have to
she
do is
really
think of
wants
him.
to.
Okay, so at this point,
Yes.
she comes storming in and
Yes.
punch Cyrus in the face.
Just runs in.
Billboard goes
Just-
everywhere.
Just my day. You know what, everyone else
My only
line up?
daughter.
Like, literally, you slam open the door, and you see Cyrus turning towards you, and he goes, "Ah, the prodigal dude! Oh, gosh!" And just bowls over. Raiken, you've been replaced as my favorite. She's got moxie.
Well, she is my daughter, so...
So I've trained her well, is what you're telling me.
No, I trained her well.
She's trained you well.
She's brushing her hand and said, "There, now we're even."
He's going to, like, you know, kind of grab his jaw and rock it around in its joint before pushing himself to standing. And he's going to, you know, look you up and down, you know, kind of smiling in this very unsettling way as you stand over him. And he's going to, you know, say, "I'm not certain what we're even for, but good show. We're definitely even." Now then, I believe I had just told you everything you wanted to know about Aboleth, which, as I mentioned, I shouldn't have done, which is why I wanted to.
That was fascinating. And I think you are correct that no one will believe us.
Fish Empire, vendetta against the gods.
Wait, no, I had a question. You said that the people, they just made more people. Where are the original people from?
Where do you think the Tritons came from? Or am I making that up? Sturgeon are here, I've got to go. But you, I wish you the best of luck. And I emphasize the word wish. Wink. Immediately, Cyrus, you are thrust back into your body, having found that there was a sturgeon suddenly in your hand. You don't remember catching it. There is a sturgeon in your hand in the real world now. It's bigger than you. By a lot.
Yeah, and I assume your jaw hurts too.
And your
Yeah.
jaw hurts, and everyone
Leah
seems to
isn't
be
that
here.
strong, but I assume that Brendan doesn't care whether she's strong or not, and
Oh, yeah.
overacted it.
Oh, absolutely. It's just like a big red bruise on his cheek.
I feel like this is more like the Brendan enhanced attack. Because he knows I'm gonna have to deal with this, not him.
You're sat on the floor here with this giant struggling fish weighing you down to the ground.
Could someone help get this thing off of me?
I gotta get back to my potion.
Raiken will grab the sturgeon.
It has a spiky butt.
Raiken avoids the spiky butt.
You do so. It's a heavy fish, but you're a big dragonborn. You can do it.
I knew
You
it.
said you liked sturgeon, right? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I did a quick Google of sturgeons. I didn't know that they're so old they come from the Jurassic era.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they live a long time, too.
There's a bunch of fish that decided that evolution was more of a suggestion than anything else.
Eventually,
Yeah.
but we already did it.
Yeah.
The sharks live
Perfect
over 400
form. Look up
I will
Greenland shark if you've ever got a want.
I will have Ruby cook this
Yeah,
up.
the coelacanth.
Perfect.
Walk downstairs with a sturgeon in your arms.
Does anyone have any idea what just happened? Because frankly, I don't.
I think that there are certain names that we should be more careful about invoking.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes, you should.
worried about the Leah's former patron. It seems like this one was a lot more active.
I don't think my patron will respond to talking over the bond.
Hopefully.
But Brendan did refer to
There's
I
just a
would-
demonic voice, or a devilish voice over the bond that says, hopefully.
He did refer to himself as a god.
He thinks he's a god. Doesn't
Maybe
make
he is
him
one.
one.
Maybe he's Carl Cleargold.
Maybe.
I think Laromendis gets like a far-off look in his eyes. At the very least, I think they're drinking buddies.
I would accept that.
I needed that scene. That was so good.
So, how much do we buy what we were just told?
What we were told aligns with the research of a potentially mad scholar.
I bet he was the scholar.
I was very tempted to ask if the associate
Yes,
we were
there was any
speaking with
relation.
was familiar with the name.
Terrible name. Haven't used it in years.
No, I have to ask.
do I
did
hear that
actually
over the
just
pond?
get said? Yeah.
No, I'm going to leave it up to your imaginations whether or not they are one and the same person.
Has to be asked.
Chaos is chaotic. I rolled a D100. It was like, there's a pretty slim chance of this happening. Maybe 5% rolled it.
You're like, well, the dice want to tell the story.
And so did Brendan. I mean, his associate.
Exactly. There is no reason for us to have been told the truth. There's also no reason for us to have been lied to. I suppose we could use one of the questions of commune to confirm the information that we were given.
I would tend
And
to believe
if it is true, I think
We
it will
have
need
additional
to be
problems.
published
Yeah.
under a pseudonym.
Oh yeah, no one's gonna believe us. Gonna believe fish older than gods that had an ancient empire.
Yep. That also brings up the other thing. If it is true, what do we do about our new friends?
Yeah, we definitely can't let the Aboleth show up. If the Tritons worship the Aboleth, then an Aboleth fighting us would be or us fighting an Aboleth would be very, very bad for us.
I mean, it is entirely possible that any Tritons who are on this plane and have been on this plane for any sufficiently long amount of time are no longer in a position where they revere those creatures. It's entirely possible, given the uncommon nature of them, that over time they have forgotten that they did.
Possible. It's also possible that he was saying that in a present tense.
That is also possible.
I think this is going to have to be less about what's possible, more what's probable.
I think we should come up with
And
our
I don't think
commune
he's the type.
questions.
What?
So I think we should come up with our commune questions.
Yeah.
We commune and it's just him again.
No, that would be if we used
Contact on the plane.
contact other plane.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, didn't I just talk to you? Fuck off! The spell just ends, and I am forced to fail the saving throw, even though I can't. Contact other plane contacts an aboleth. That aboleth.
Will you please stop employing roll of funny? It's going to get me killed.
It'll get you killed in a hilarious way.
It's true,
Which
it
is the
will.
only way to go,
However,
you know?
I'd like to be alive
Always reincarnating.
most days.
Yeah, but we're going to use commute, not contact other plane, until we've sufficiently gone through our resources to commute.
So commune just asks any like godly entity, right?
Yes, I think that at least from Laromendis' understanding of the spell, it has at least most generally been answered by a servant of Ione, given that's who he has the most divine connection with.
So when you use it, you basically get to choose at least a
no,
idea of who you want.
Per the spell, you don't.
It's just more likely because of your connection with her.
I feel like servants of Ione would probably get like right of first refusal.
That makes sense. It also makes sense that they would be the first ones to jump on answering questions.
They know much.
But yeah, like per the spell,
like to share.
there's no information. You don't know who you ask. The only thing you know from the spell is that if there is a response, it is accurate.
Okay, we got a lot of things we need to ask questions about.
Yes.
So I think the Abel is showing up probably the most pressing.
I'm inclined to agree.
And then after that would probably be maybe something to do with coffers. Did you guys figure out everything you need to know for that?
We know the names of the people that we need to reach out to. We will probably want to be reaching out to at least 2 of them to establish communication.
Now, I still have the sending pen thing. Could we use that to send to them?
Voice in the Sky. I imagine that the pen works in the same manner of like a 3rd level casting of the spell.
Yeah,
Like, you
it's
need
a
to be
base
familiar
level
with the
casting
target.
of the spell.
Yeah.
So anybody
So
that you
now
could reach with a 3rd level version of it, you could reach with the pen.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't.
At least not yet.
Yeah.
If we
Now, after
establish
you send to them
communication-
with the 9th level spell, could you then send to them with the 3rd?
I don't know. I don't know that we have established yes or no to that question. Voice in
I
the
don't
Sky?
think it's that much connection. It might be not a 9th level anymore, but I don't think it goes down to 3rd.
I mean, it's
Anyway.
always something that you could try. I agree with Derek that it's one of those things where it's like
Because it's just level of familiarity, right? So, I
it's
mean,
level of familiarity. So now you've talked
Sure.
to them, which is not
little bit
weightless,
more,
but you know, maybe it
it's
goes
not
down to
you know
like
them.
5th or whatever.
Still,
So,
after that, that'd be much easier. And the more we did it, the easier it would be, theoretically. Especially if we actually went and met them in person.
once you meet them in
Yeah,
person and have talked, you can just 3rd level them.
Yeah.
But there's no way for us to contact all 3 of the generals in one day.
It's possible, but it takes my 9th level slot as well.
Well, no,
So-
because we could still only contact 2. Simulacrum
You
Laromendis no longer has his 9th level spell.
I thought he used his 8th, not his 9th.
Today he used his 8th. He used his 9th to sequester the pendant.
Rah.
You weren't there for that, I don't think. I think
Does
that was
Leah know
during-
sending?
No, I don't. It's not even
Oh, yeah,
something
you can't-
warlocks can learn.
Okay.
And it could not.
Then-
Warlocks wouldn't be able to upcast it to 9th.
Yeah,
No,
that
that's
would
right.
be for starts-
I
yeah.
guess maybe we could ask some Tharamil, or not, what's the... can't remember her name now.
Lotharis?
Lotharis. She can probably send at 9th level.
That would be a large favor to ask.
Yeah,
We're
that's
already
the-
asking a large favor.
You all know that Lotharis' title in this world is the Guardian of the East.
Okay, but hold on. If Cyrus is the Guardian of the East, that means that, you know, the people from Emperor of the Four Queens, like, respect her, right?
Probably.
Yeah,
She
so...
could be a good intermediary if we can.
Yeah, if one of the,
Yes,
like,
sir.
if one of the sergeants hear from a random person like us, that they might have already heard bad things, so it might not work well. But if they hear something from the literal Guardian, that might give them reasons to listen, reasons to believe.
It would certainly give us clout. We should ask if she can come with us when we go see them.
I want her to ask. She's allowed to say no.
It would be fairly reasonable to spin that into the general request we were making for her presence to lend us weight.
Yeah, that is why she's here.
And if by chance she's already met them in her travels, it might not be as big of an ask if it doesn't become like it's not actually a 9th level slot for her. It's also assuming she knows the spell, which have we gotten some news from her? Like I assume Laromendis has at some point.
Can't Doral use sending? That's why I was assuming she could.
I mean, yeah, but like I don't know all the spells that Laromendis here knows, just because they're both dragons and cast spells.
Well, they are both ancient gold dragons. That was my assumption.
Or follow up, I have draconic magic, and I can't cast Sinjin. I'm not capable of ever learning how to cast it. Because for some reason, dragons go pick off of the
sorcerer spell?
wizard list, as opposed to the sorcerer list.
My dragons pick off of the sorcerer list. Mostly.
With exceptions for Sinjin, apparently.
Look, it's a good spell.
It is! I wanted it. I couldn't get it.
But yeah, so asking Seltharis for her input, assistance in communicating, and in our eventual discussion with the generals seems reasonable. Because I don't want to say... I'm coming up with questions, the frameworks of questions. First one I have is the information we were told about aboleths via Cyrus's body accurate?
You don't want to risk invoking him a second time?
No, I don't.
Especially during communication across planes?
It's almost like it's a bad idea.
Look,
I never thought I'd live to
you
see
got us
the
interesting
day.
information.
I never thought I'd live to see the day where somebody said, "Boy, I wish we had Brendan."
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I never thought I was gonna say it.
Well, when the stars align, we get windy discussions about fish.
Sturgeons.
Spiky butts.
And whales, not fish. And octopodes, not fish.
Fish. Fins face the wrong way. And they breathe air sometimes? Weird.
So my second question is starting at is the aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus, and I was planning to materialize on the material plane within the next 48 hours, but that doesn't cover the situations of it already being on the material plane. And it being on the material plane doesn't necessarily mean that it's intending within the next 2 days to take a bite at Cyrus.
You could say, like, intend to enact its plan for me.
So my
Something like
concern
that.
with that, because I did think about that one, is that any action that it's taking in furtherance of its plan would be covered by that. So, like, even if it's on the
Include its
on the
plan?
plane of water,
Finish it?
is its plan concluded with your death?
Well, you could ask.
Oh, I figure something like that could have much worse ideas.
Yeah, so
than
that's why I
that.
said, like, that's why, like, finishing its plan in the next 2 days is not, because, like, if the plan involves a lot of your suffering,
Where
then
That's true.
And it probably thinks pretty long term, given how long it lives. It's been alive longer than the gods.
What about stating it in it will come in physical contact with Cyrus?
Or just will it arrive, like, within the bounds of this island? Or one of our gimme planes?
I think physical contact with Cyrus is better than that, because we're not just concerned with it showing up on the island or in the demiplane, because we're concerned about the whole fight the whole thing before the dragons, and we're not going to be isolated to those two areas.
So I thought we had just been trying to figure out something for the next couple days.
Oh, yes.
That's why I was trying to come up with more short term.
We would want it to be some range out from the island, since it is a fish, kind of. Maybe?
Oh, 100 miles? 50 miles?
I think 100 would be concerning to me, so... So is the Aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus planning to be within 100 miles of Storm Reef Island in the next 2 days? Next 48 hours? What were we intending to seek information about for a third question? I feel like if for question 1 solves my curiosity about what the
If one thing is right, then the other thing is right. Basically.
Well, we could ask if it could be reasoned with.
Or could it be convinced to?
Or could it be convinced to stop chasing us?
Could it reasonably be convinced? Because it might be possible, but it could require.
Is there something we could feasibly do that would get it to stop hunting us?
Well, I can answer that for you. Probably give it me.
Yeah.
Other than giving it Cyrus.
This one's going to be my new favorite episode for a while.
Titled, He's Back? Interrobang.
That's fair. Properly clickbaity.
A voice from beyond. It's because of his meta-knowledge.
Yeah. Chaos is a great concept. You can be whatever you feel like.
Well, so my thing was, like, if he wants chaos and, like, interesting things happening, and Aboleth taking Cyrus is less interesting than letting Cyrus,
continue to be an idiot.
I like
Let him
you
use-
rationalize and talking yourself into believing everything he told you.
If there's one thing we're good at, it's rationalizing.
I'm very good at it. So the frameworks for the first 3 questions that I have is the information we were told about aboleths via Cyrus's body accurate? Is the aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus planning to be within 100 miles of Storm Reef Island in the next 48 hours? And could the aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus be convinced by us to give up its vendetta without handing over Cyrus? What do people think about those questions?
Sound good to me.
Sounds workable.
Thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yukikaze is muted. If he had thoughts. Although, no, he had stepped away. And isn't back yet, so.
It does sound like you have
Ash
a
have
quorum,
any
though.
Yeah. Does Ash have any thoughts about these questions before asking them?
A good idea. Asking Ash. Let's him weigh in directly on things like that. I think he would probably say, Scholar, your third question is extremely open-ended, as it includes any and all situations that involve the party and making the aboleth stop its pursuit of Cyrus, which does not necessarily mean directly speaking to it. You can use other means to convince creatures of things. See the suggestion spell, or wish.
Or wishing
That is
for
fair.
suggestions.
So, how do we want to rephrase that to something that is more in line with our desires?
Can a parlay with the creature result in this desired outcome? Non-magical parlance. Parliament. Were you recently near a source of chaos?
Yes.
It has affected me.
It was unsettling. That is also concerning.
I'm having a little difficulty with my word search functions.
I don't think it necessarily a non-magical parlay. We can deal with everything via sendings and other such means, but not be in the presence of such a creature. I don't have a particular qualm with that. Oh, hello, Cat.
But thesaurus is askew. No. Mislaid. No, not that either. Jumbled.
Can a parlay with the aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus lead to it giving up its vendetta without handing over Cyrus? Is more limited. Although I guess the specifying non-magical does get rid of the possibilities of suggestion, which has to be in person.
Everything's arranged by etymological roots now.
Out of character, I didn't know those words were actually related. Make that insert name of other ion stone. I was right. And a non-magical parlay with the aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus lead to it giving up its vendetta without handing over Cyrus. Or any of the rest of us.
I love that you're trying to find some way out of this that doesn't involve casting big spells.
I mean, to get to the aboleth, to be in contact with it, requires big magic. Especially since we can't plane shift to the plane of water, although no, we can't reduce ourselves to small enough to go through the tap. And, you know, then you're down in the bottom of the plane of water. You need water breathing.
If we can figure out the water breathing, we don't need to reduce ourselves. We can just, if we can see it, we can teleport to it.
Yes, water is classically easy to see through over great distances.
We don't need to see great distances. If we're at the part where we can see the aboleth, we're nowhere in the right ballpark.
Wait, wrong aboleth. Shit!
I think Ash would also say your second question seems to revolve around dislocation again, and it had been my understanding that the scholar wanted to release himself from that restriction. Something about physical contact with Cyrus.
That was my thinking when it was a larger time frame that we were concerned about. But if we are only looking at the next 48 hours, we're unlikely to leave the island in the next 48 hours.
Aren't you planning to perhaps teleport to wherever Coffers is tomorrow?
Will we be able to do that tomorrow? I was thinking about the spells that we...
Even if it's the day after, that's still 48 hours. I simply do not want the scholar to set up a pit trap for them to fall into.
Yeah.
Avoid hoisting yourself on your own leotard. That didn't make sense. Who arranges words by suffix?
Apparently one person. Whose name I shall be slightly more cautious about in the future.
Thank you. That was most unpleasant.
I do like having Ash start spouting malapropisms, though. Just from proximity.
It seemed appropriate. Or malappropriate.
Okay. I think this seems reasonable.
I was listening the whole time though.
Okay.
Question is I forgot what Cyrus's big infraction was on the aberration. Or
I called it names.
what were the
That's
names?
really it. I don't know what I called it exactly.
Oh, okay.
Cyrus.
Yep.
Are you purposefully obfuscating right now?
No, I guess I just don't remember right if that's not the case.
I mean, you did. You did call it names. It's just you also delivered the final blow.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We did. It did get killed and sent away. That's right.
I called it names and killed it.
Which is, to be fair, a good way to piss something off.
Got the time ready, buddy.
If you just called it names or just killed it, I think we could have hopefully done something. But with both,
Adding insult to injury.
yeah. Okay, that was just one quick thought I had. I wanted to ask again, just to double check.
Yeah. Reasonable to be sure of.
Aboleth reappears as you insensitive prick. Do you have any idea how much that stings?
Would you like it if I called you names?
I was wondering, Tristan, if we ate an aberration, if it couldn't respawn until we pooped it out.
I don't want to answer that question.
And we don't have
one way to
answer that
find
question.
out, and I don't want to participate in finding out.
Sorry, that was just a silly thought I had.
Brendan's affecting everybody at this table.
I'm a vegetarian, so I'm out.
It's true.
Well, yeah, not really a way around that.
Pescatarian instead.
We could transform it into plants first.
What is this, Trolls 2?
Goblin is Nilbog spelled backwards.
We just
Exactly.
call it true, polymorph it into a houseplant. We let Leah eat it, and there we are.
Sam and I have the same hat tonight. Alright,
When
so
it turned back, no one Aboleth when it took damage, though.
I have no clue.
we have
Polymorph is weirder.
3 questions for Commune. Party. Is there any further question you have about these questions, or suggestion, or problem? They are in the Snark channel. Please look at them quickly.
Seem good to me.
I think they're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Laromendis would go into the mansion and ask them.
Alright. Everybody goes into the mansion. Probably pull it off without having to pull all the tokens out. Just to get the get the ambiance. Alright, should have a way of pulling the whole party here. Boo. So you don't have a token, but you can still see the map, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, as per usual, you head to the lounge, the sitting room, the fireplace, and you set up your dish of water to, I assume, you use the
Yes.
dish of water. And you cast the spell.
It's much nicer without it yelling in my face.
it vibrating the walls. And you ask your questions. 1. Is the information we were told about aboleths via Cyrus's body accurate? There is a longish pause before the water ripples, and Ash kind of bobs for a moment before turning to you and saying, yes.
Interesting.
They sounded more uncertain than cagey, if that's any comfort, scholar.
I'm gonna put a question mark to the answer when, for recording the answer on the message. So it'll be yes.
Question 2. Is the aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus planning to be in physical contact with Cyrus in the next 48 hours? More quickly, the water ripples, and confidently Ash bobs and says, no. Question 3. Can a non-magical parley with the aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus lead to it giving up its vendetta without handing over Cyrus or any of the rest of us? No.
Fair enough. Unfortunate, though.
Too bad.
Now I need to figure out a method of having what people would consider a credible source about the aboleths. Future work.
Are you gonna do another commune?
Did we have more questions that we wanted to commune?
Get the question
I don't
mark
have
off
any.
of that first yes.
We could ask if it killing Cyrus would make it leave the rest of us alone.
I think it was clear that it didn't give a shit about the rest of us.
So, I mean, we could ask that, and also, like, figure out if it just wants to kill me. 'Cause, I mean, frankly, if it just wants me dead a little bit, we have fixes for that particular problem that
Yeah,
are
we
frankly
can ask,
cheaper than Wish.
If we let it kill Cyrus and then bring him back, will it still be mad?
Will it continue?
Yes.
Well, hey, it might not be, because we'll be even.
I don't think that
It can
a
insult
sufficiently
her
powerful
might-
entity
It
can
might not
see
even
that
know.
as even.
It can insult him while it kills him.
I killed it, it came back, it kills me, I come back, it goes and deals with its god problem that it has. It has bigger fish to fry.
Like
And
sturgeon.
it's not like it's all knowing, right? There's no guarantee that it will
I
necessarily
feel like
know that we
it really is
survived
a
them.
worthwhile question.
If it
Would-
kills Cyrus and we bring him back, will it be angry? Unclear. If it doesn't know that we brought him back, no.
Would a saying "bigger fish to fry" be insulting to another?
That depends
Oh,
on
but
that
it's
particular
here, not
aboleth's
there.
diet.
Even better, Jebel can reincarnate him so that way he's different completely.
Hey,
What you do?
I don't like that, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, you
so
spend
no,
most of your time
this
through
is-
polymorphed in a dragon anyway.
Hold on, this is the plan. That as would in my mind how it would need to function. Yeet Cyrus into the plane of water to get killed by the aboleth. Hopefully quickly. But possibly not. True resurrect him because you don't have the body. Kill him again.
We
and then
can't do that.
reincarnate him.
We don't have access to one of those spells you've mentioned.
What if we just like?
Can't- No, I thought Chebel.
How much-
I thought Druids can cast True Resurrection.
Can they?
I think so.
Well, if we could, then why do you
Oh,
use
this is gonna
reincarnate
hurt.
on me?
Because reincarnate's lower level.
True resurrection.
It's a much lower level spell. It's a much cheaper spell.
And because you wanted to.
Come on, you had the potential to be its backseat. You'll live.
How much of the body do we need to reincarnate? It's not much, isn't it? You reincarnated me from a chunk.
Do I have to cut off a finger and leave it behind? Is that the plan now?
I mean, maybe.
I hate you. I hate all of you. I appreciate you're working on my problem, but I hate all of you.
Maybe just like your hair would work. Or fingernails, and then it normally comes off.
You die horrifically all the time when you disappear.
Yeah, it's not like this is your
Yeah,
first
but I
death.
can't feel those. I'm gonna feel this one.
But that's all predicated on the assumption that the aboleth is going to kill you in a reasonable time frame.
And that's what was my other thing that I thought would be worth checking. If it intends to kill me, and killing and me dying would solve our problem. Would it, would it be killing me
We can
in a
cast.
reasonable time frame?
We can do a delay spell on you or something that activates once you're in its presence that kills you.
Well, we could ask. That could be the third question: was if Cyrus were to enter the plane of water, would the aboleth attack within like an hour or something?
The plane of water is large. We would need to put him at the aboleth.
True. But I mean, like he was saying, he was thinking he could teleport in via the hole, right? But the aboleth was looking at him. We summon the house again, he looks to the hole again, the aboleth is there again, he teleports in, aboleth eats him.
I hate this plan.
Scholar,
I acknowledge this plan, but I hate this plan.
Yes, Ash.
you asked the spell. If the aboleth planned to be in contact with Cyrus in the next 48 hours, but what if you asked for a longer time frame? It would still cover the shorter time frame. You could more clearly establish when this might become a threat.
I think we had wanted the 48 hours to know about what we can deal with the sendings. So now that that's confirmed.
So my
we're
ninth is
good on the
free for
sandbangs.
today. Yeah.
Which means we can now start asking for larger time frames. Perhaps starting with 4 weeks, which should hopefully put us by the end of near-term events.
Yes, if you have 14 days until you teleport, this will probably be solved in 15 days. Either you will be victorious, or I will have a new scholar.
Everybody will be dead.
I mean, that's just an accurate statement.
It doesn't mean you have to say it like that.
Look, I very
Laromendis
much...
looks a little confused by that, because it was a completely reasonable thing in his mind.
Ash is going to turn towards her and says, "Look, I very much appreciated the work of Scholar Zathala, but I did need a new scholar after his... when he... Scholar, I have lost my synonyms for kick the bread basket."
I was also just thinking of the fact that Ash doesn't remember Zathala dying.
He does not. He has no memories.
Those memories
of it.
never came back.
Well, yeah.
Because it was synced before that.
Yeah, he is still missing that chunk.
I bought the farm, pushing up daisies.
Something about food rot. It sounded more professional, I remember that. Expired. That was it. Thank you, Scholar.
For the record, if we go through with the plan of Cyrus dying and being reincarnated, if I come back as a drow, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
That would be funny. I want somebody else to be reincarnated.
Turn the whole party slowly into Dragonborn.
Join the
I
club.
don't want to be a Dragonborn. Dragonborn don't live as long.
Well, I didn't want to be a Dragonborn either.
I mean,
But I'm not
I might-
unhappy with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a lifespan improvement for me if I went the Dragonborn route. Oh, well.
Yeah, my lifespan stayed pretty much the same, so...
Let's see, there is only 1% chance to be a drow.
Your point?
just
There's a 5% chance for what's his face to show up.
Fair.
Doesn't mean it won't happen.
But you'll probably true polymorph into a dragon again afterwards anyway.
I mean, probably, but
And then you can look however you want. You just look like a gnome again.
yeah, until... Excuse me?
Right, halfling. You're the halfling, sorry.
You're the halfling.
You're the half.
Fucking racist.
Man, sorry.
Jebel. Oh right, I'm the gnome.
I spend a lot more time with Jebel.
You all look like gnomes to me now.
Yeah. All you non-Dragonborn look alike.
It's just the little ones. The little ones. Children and small adults. They're all gnomes.
They're all gnomes.
We're learning so many things right now. And not about sturgeons at all.
Sorry for derailing things there.
I mean, no matter what, technically, I do think that we could just have you, cut off a finger and then reincarnate you from a finger, as opposed to true resurrection and then murder reincarnate.
Then they would cut that step out.
Yeah,
Saves a
I'd
lot of
prefer to
money.
only die once. And I feel like that many resurrections that close together, I might start pissing off the Raven Queen rather actively.
It's making a mockery of her domain.
You just hear the distant echo of a book closing and a sigh of disgust.
So I would like to keep my fragrant words.
Flagrant?
That deaths to a minimum.
Your flagrant disregard to death.
Alright, so we want to... let's see.
Plus, how am I going to explain this to my mother?
Maybe you'll be a
Cyrus is just going to be like sitting in the corner with his head in his hands.
halfling again. Maybe you'll be a halfling again.
How am I going to tell my mom? Perhaps Cyrus more easily than explaining why an aboleth is in her kitchen.
Like, you're not wrong. And that's a valid point, but... I've already traumatized her once. Going home in a different body or just appearing there because teleport. It just...
Perhaps sending ahead like the scholar does before teleporting into her home would help you.
Yeah, I might need to borrow a pen.
Hey, Mom,
Hope my
something
rock is
happened.
charged.
My family took it in stride.
Did you teleport into your mom's house?
At least once.
Not you.
Yeah.
Vendar.
Oh, sorry. No, I never teleported in there.
Okay.
In like
I think he meant just with the shape change.
Bender at least hasn't like exploded in front of his mother ahead of that.
Right.
It's true. When I exploded, it wasn't in front of my mother.
It was in front of everybody else, and at least one of those people was blind and deaf, so it's fine.
Or appear on the dinner table with a naked dragonborn.
Guys, if we were gonna reincarnate me, I wish we would have come up with that earlier, before I told everyone I didn't die to regenerate some limbs.
Why would you appear on your mother's dining room table with a naked dragonborn? Ione needs to know.
Because
I was not
stuck
paying
in
attention.
Io does not
was
need
thinking-
to know.
Because I was stuck in someone's Pokeball.
Wait, I didn't say that in character because Leah didn't know that.
But you did. Well,
Well,
kinda.
didn't.
I didn't know the other side. I didn't know where he went.
Well, now you know.
Fair enough.
Look, I'm just gonna, we can go with Ash has figured it out through the effects of chaos that are still lingering if we want. There's enough of that flying around.
So much chaos. You spent so much time inhabiting your body directly.
There was a Pokeball, I was trapped in it, I appeared out of it, and I panicked. And then I tried to put Raiken back where he came from, I had to come with, and then I just ran, because I was at least thinking a little bit more clearly.
If only you had
And you just
ran
throw you off his
at
back.
the very beginning.
I don't think that would have saved your evening.
Ione appreciates your honesty.
I
It
don't-
is for posterity, after all.
I still would have been in the bed.
Story will be told for generations. How you cockblocked the champion of Cord from getting with the Guardian of the East.
Oh, there are things I wish I could say. There are things I wish I could say.
So I have posted in the channel 3 potential questions to ask in another sending. Not sending. Is the Aboleth with a vendetta against Cyrus planning to be in physical contact with Cyrus in the next 17 days? If Cyrus were to be in contact with the Aboleth with a vendetta against him, would he be killed within 1 hour? If Cyrus were to die in front of the Aboleth with a vendetta against him and then be resurrected without the Aboleth's knowledge, would its vendetta be sated?
All right. Very quickly, are there any questions, corrections, changes desired by the party?
Do we need to specify that I'm not trying my hardest to kill it? Or banish it? Because if there are ways I might be able to stop it from killing me within that hour.
I mean, if you are intending to go quietly, then I
that
think
currently
that
would be unclear, because it depends on if we're planning to retrieve me, or if it's, oh hey, it's here now.
Okay, so if Cyrus were to be in contact with the Aboleth with a vendetta against him, and he aimed to go quietly, would he be killed within 1 hour?
Sure.
Is that more to your taste?
Yeah, I was thinking more like just not trying my hardest. Like, I imagine it might think something's up if I just sit there and take it.
I think that's covered enough by the question and the intent behind the question.
Alright.
And then, if Cyrus were to die in front of the Aboleth with a vendetta against... Oh, no, we already read these ones, so that was your comment about the second one. Did anyone have any comments about the other ones? Or the second one? Any of questions?
Oh.
Going once. Going twice. Sold to the DM100 in the back.
Okay. Roll it.
Oh,
I roll it.
Yes, I think you roll it.
Okay. Has to beat a 25, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's 75% chance to work.
21.
Okay.
Rolling
Let's
again,
try
gotta
that
beat a 50?
Yep.
Okay, rolling again, gotta beat a 50. You cast your spell, and the water makes a poopy noise at you. And some splashes out of the bowl.
And there's just a, faint green tinge to it for a moment.
Terrible.
There's like a shadow of a sturgeon at the edge of the bowl that's just...
Alright, 93. You beat a 50.
Excellent.
Is the Aboleth with a Vendetta planning to be in contact with Cyrus in like 17 days? No. Two. If Cyrus were to be in contact with the Aboleth with a vendetta against him, and he aimed to go quietly, would he be killed within 1 hour? Yes. 3. If Cyrus were to die in front of the Aboleth with a vendetta against him, and then be resurrected without the Aboleth's knowledge, would its vendetta be sated? Yes.
Or question, if it found out on a scale of 1 to... How mad would it be?
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being exactly as mad as it is now.
And that has a new vendetta against Laromendis.
I wouldn't be the one casting the spell.
Yes, but it knows you came up with the idea.
It does not know that.
It knows.
Who fucking narked?
Well, you're part of Ione, so you can't lie.
That is not true. I don't know why all of you seem to think that I'm unable to lie.
He's not even like a cleric or a worshiper. He just happens to align with her more.
Listen, if it comes after you as well, you know the only person that could snitch is going to be Cyrus before he gets killed.
Speaking of which,
My word.
Telepathic. If we go through with this, is there some way to shield me?
Well, is there a need to go through with this? I suppose 17 days does not give you a whole lot of leeway. But I do think that it gives us enough time to.
I guess we could ask if it's actually coming after him at all. Maybe it's just mad and we'll kill him if he sees him.
Perhaps I should just develop a fear of the water.
I think that would be healthy.
I don't know if this is a choice you have to make at this point. You literally poured water in a magic cabin and it talked at you angry. That's a reasonable... That's a reasonable source of fear right there. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
How does the water get in your, here?
It, I think, is created from nothing.
You think?
I mean...
I'm going to go outside.
That was a 17 on die. That's a 37 Arcana. Magic can create water. I think it's reasonable to say that any water in here is just created magically.
Like anything else in the mansion, you can consume food and water and be satiated, but you cannot take it out of the mansion because it is only real in its far as its ability to do that thing and become part of you in doing so. But anything that is not part of you disappears, for it is part of the magic of the mansion.
Yeah.
So when you eat it, does it become part of you?
Yes. That is why you can eat within the mansion and be full, but you cannot take food with you when you leave.
Makes sense. It would be gross
No
if when you left,
leftovers.
just like all the food that was in your stomach just fell on the ground where you were.
It feeds 100. Poorly. You mean the food's bad? No.
Okay, so if we eat a servant, can we puke him out in the real world and then now a part of the real world?
You can't because they're just force. They're force with an illusion upon it to make it look like it has form.
So an argument could be made that if you were capable of doing this, that the moment they stop being part of you, they return to being part of the magic of the mansion and disappear. But that raises interesting, and by interesting I mean questions that we will not be discussing ever, about the fate of food you eat here and then leave the mansion.
I was thinking if you just ate the mansion long enough, you'd have magical throw-up. Cleans itself up.
I mean, as long as you're not in the mansion, technically.
Never need to poop.
Yeah, what about the poop?
No, you have
You
to
just
poop.
start projectile vomiting and it just vanishes and it takes...
I said we're not discussing it! We're not discussing it! No, no, no!
But what about corn?
No! We're not... It is 10:35. Game's over! Good job, everybody! Too bad we can't have this really interesting discussion. We'll see you next time on Everybody Loves Raiken! Bye, stream!
Bye, stream.
Goodbye.